Oh, I'm like 15 seconds too early. Good morning. God, that big face in my face. Good morning. Good morning. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed the morning this morning. That moon was beautiful. The stars are out. It was clear skies. It was breezy and cool. Feels like fall's in the air. And we are officially in Q4. October, November, and December. What do you think about that, Mr. Reed?
Good morning. Well,
Good
I guess
morning.
there's no better time than here and now to get started, right?
Exactly. And I'm going to start with a video, which I haven't done in a long time. Nancy, good
Yeah,
morning.
I got both those going. Well, listing going.
Okay. So let me start off with it's a 10-minute video. We're only play 5 minutes of it. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's him talking about having a vision. So we're going to talk about visions today. And I'm going to open with that. Let me let her in. Okay. Give me a second here. Get a good morning chat from somebody. There we go. All right. Share my screen. Basically, let's start with this. Where is it? Joe Diener's coming in. Share my screen. There we go. Can you see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, 5 minutes.
But success. The first rule of success is to have a vision. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. And as you know, I was born in 1947 in Austria after the Second World War. So I was very fortunate that I stumbled onto my vision. And I didn't really like Austria when I grew up. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I couldn't see myself becoming a farmer or a worker in a factory or anything like that. Even though my parents wanted me to stay there and have a normal life. But that was their vision, not mine. My vision was totally different. I felt that I was born for something special, for something unique, for something big. Then one day I went to school. I remember I was 11 years old. And they showed a documentary about America. There they showed this documentary, the huge skyscrapers, the high-rises, the huge bridges, the 6-lane freeways. And all of this stuff, I said to myself, that's where I want to be. I don't want to be around here in these little farmhouses, these little buildings. I want to be in America. One day after school, I walked by a store in Graz. So I went inside and I looked around, and then I saw a magazine. I saw a bodybuilding magazine that had Reg Park on the cover. Reg Park was then a 3-time Mr. Universe. And I saw him on the big screen as Hercules. I read that and I said to myself, wow, this is the blueprint for my life. This is exactly what I want to do. I want to become a bodybuilding champion, just like Reg Park. I want to get into movies, just like Reg Park. And I want to make millions of dollars and be rich and famous, just like Reg Park. You know how great it felt that I knew where I was going? Imagine the majority of people don't know where they're going. I knew where I was going. That I'm going to become this bodybuilding champion, just like him. So it was just a question of how do you do it? I was so relieved because when you have a goal, when you have a vision, everything becomes easy. So people always ask me, when they saw me in the gym in the pumping iron days, they said, why is it that you're working out so hard? 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, and you have always a smile on your face. And I told people all the time, I said, because to me, I'm shooting for a goal. In front of me is the Mr. Universe title. So every rep that I do gets me closer to accomplishing that goal, to make this goal, this vision turn into reality. Every single set that I do, every repetition, every weight that I lift, will get me a step closer to turn this goal into reality. So I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound squat. I couldn't wait to do another 500-pound bench press. I couldn't wait for another 2,000 reps of sit-ups. I couldn't wait for the next exercise. At the age of 20, I went to London and I won the Mr. Universe contest as the youngest Mr. Universe ever. And it was because I had a goal. So let me tell you something, visualizing your goal and going after it makes it fun. You've got to have a purpose no matter what you do in life. You've got to have a purpose.
That's enough of that. Why would I play a video like that? Come on, people.
That it's awesome.
Because it is awesome. Because our concept.
Because you need to know your why.
You got to know your why, and you got to have fun. And I wrote down every conversation gets you one step closer to your vision. Right. So let's get serious now. This is Q4. We have October, we have November, we have December. We've got a real estate market that is fun. Really, it's complex, it's complicated, but it's fun. We're getting listings, we're selling them the day we're getting them. We're in multiple offers on many properties. Interest rates are good, they're not bad, right? We have the biggest pent-up demand of buyers ever that are qualified, waiting for things to happen. So what are we missing? We're missing the vision. Right, so that's today is the workshop. I want you to think, and I want you to share about some exciting thing that you can do. You know, Jeff and I were talking over the weekend, and you know, I hate to say this out loud, but we talked about making $60,000 this quarter, and I think that's scaring a lot of people, and it shouldn't. Right? Who makes $60,000 a quarter? Almost nobody you know, except for our handful of top agents. Right? So what would you do? What would put a big ass smile on, and maybe it's not $60,000, I don't care what it is, but what is 3 things we want to envision for the end of this year that you can create in this industry? I want to start construction on a new investment property. That's my big ass goal right now. And you know what I'm doing? I'm sharing it with people. So Jeff sent me a picture over the weekend of a badass waterfront house with big ass slide that comes all the way down. There'll be a rental house like crazy, Airbnb type of style. Super cool. Right? Mike, what's a why for you? Mike Clayman. You got to go off mute if you want to be heard.
Yeah, a new Lexus.
A new Lexus, an RX 350, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, what's that going to cost?
Cost 62,000.
Okay, you're going to pay for it, you're going to get a lease, or you're going to finance it?
I'm gonna pay for it.
You want to pay cash?
Right.
Perfect. $62,000. You're going to sell your current car?
Already sold it.
Okay. So how much cash do you need?
I already burned my bridges.
All right, so you need $62,000. So how many deals you got to do that? You're in a little lower price range.
Well, lower price range. I got to do at least 10.
10 transactions in 3 months. Possible or not possible?
Possible.
Hell yeah, it is. You know, I talk about my daughter all the time, and you make fun of me, but I think she was on the hot sheet 3 or 4 times last week. Now, what she got working on? She's got a new house that she's renovating, and it's costing a lot of money. But she knows how much it is, and she knows how much it's got to be, and she wants to be Centurion by the end of the year. So she needs 9 transactions. She knows what it is. The vision is there. Mike, you got your vision. It's there. So $60,000, 10 transactions. That's 20 conversations a day. Now it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger doing 500 extra sit-ups. I'd rather talk to 20, have 20 conversations, do 500 sit-ups myself. Right? But if you know what you're clearly working toward, that's the goal. So let's get people thinking what you're working toward.
And then oldies.
Meredith,
That just reminded me, Craig, I was remembering doing the contacts. I was 35 contacts a day was my contact goal when I first started in this business.
Yes.
And I had the pictures and the visions around the mirror where I was doing my prospecting, making my phone calls.
Uh-huh.
And that was the reasons why. But I always remember crossing off 35, 34, 33, 32, and I make the next one 31, then 30, then 29, then 28. And I was just checking them off, right? That was just my job. I went until I got to finished all 35 of them. That's just what it was. But it was that was the stepping stones to get the stuff that was around the mirror on the vision board. But, just getting excited by every single rep you do. It could be I don't want to sell my house. I never want to do it, lose my number. 34, right? Next one, 33. It's just going through the process is it. But the other thing that came up when I was just listening to that video again was the reticular activating system. And I think we forget about how important that piece of what we're talking about is. Because when we say, what are your three things, right? That's not the whole process. The process is imagining the three things. Natalie wrote in, she wants to get her mom a house. She doesn't have to pay rent. One of the most powerful drivers ever, stuff like that for other people, right? But you go down to the granular of it, like what do you need to put a down payment on that house? Or what is the investment property you're going to buy that's going to spit off enough cash to cover the payment for that piece of property, right? Or could you buy a duplex, put her in half and have the other half pay for it? Right? These are the questions you kind of get into. And the Lexus, which year, which color, which interior, which stuff, all those things you get certain like emotionally connected to it. And without the emotional connection to the goal, they never happen, right? They just don't. It's just going through the empty motion of stating out a goal because somebody told you to state a goal, and it never ever happens. That's why I think ever really truly get their goals, because I don't think they attach to them. And then as soon as you get emotionally attached to what it is that you're working towards, then you truly attract things to that emotion. But it's the emotion that attracts the energy and the people, places, events, and things to you. Without the emotion, there's nothing to attract to. So I think we need to really spend a moment and think about those three items that we're writing as our on New Year's Eve, at the end of the year. You're sitting back, fired up. If you're not fired up about these things, they're not a good thing. It's not exciting enough. If they're not exciting enough for you to be fired up on January or December 31st, looking back on this last quarter, then you need to get some new goals that excite you, or drop it down to one thing is fine, right? Something that fires you up.
Chris just did a class on the RAS, the reticular activating system, on Wednesday last week. Go back and watch that class. That was last week, wasn't it?
I think it was last week or the week before.
The reticular activating system, what does it really do?
It's a filter. It basically it's you telling yourself what's important to you and telling your brain, your body, and your emotions what's important to you, so that it filters all the other BS out and tries to bring more of those things that you said are important to you into your life, into your existence, into your awareness, into your field of vision, through your eyes, through your ears, through whatever it is. That's why whenever the easiest way to talk about it is you buy a car. I bought this car, and then you didn't see as many of them before. You would see them every now and then, but then you start seeing different colors. Like, I didn't know they made that color. Well, look at the rims they make on that. Maybe I could do that to my car. Well, look how much better it looks with the tinted windows. I see a spoiler on the back. I think I should lift my truck like that one I just saw. You start seeing all of those things because now you've told yourself that this truck you just bought is important to you. Because how good does it feel when you buy a new truck?
Awesome.
Craig, how good does it feel when you bought your new truck? How many times did you walk into your garage and walk by it and turn back around and look at it like 3 or 4 times as you walked through the garage, stopped and stared at it, walked over to it, like brushed off the little piece of dust that was on it just because it was out earlier that day for 3 minutes. Like, you get so emotionally attached to those things because you tell yourself how important it is, and you have that emotion. Like Jeff was saying, the emotion is there. I love this truck. This thing is awesome. It's so cool. It's so fun. You feel awesome when you're driving it. And that's where the attraction comes in, and you start seeing more of those things. Now, what if you could do that before you even had the truck? What if you started creating that emotion of the truck and seeing that truck and being in that truck and walking by your garage space, seeing the empty space, but seeing your truck in it, create the emotion before it even happens. That's the law of attraction. That's the magnetism. That's how you draw things to you through the emotion. the electrical thought, like that charge in your brain is an electrical thought. It sends a neurological impulse to your body, all throughout your body. And then the emotion that's created is the magnetic feeling that starts to draw things closer to you or repel them away.
Mhm. And
Chris, let's
ahead.
let's go to that last point that you just said, because I was doing I subscribed this little monthly little science kit thing for my kids, right? So we got the latest box came in, and one of the experiments there was we're using magnets, right? And the art of the magnetism part, let's talk about that for a second, because magnets, what does everybody think about? What does a magnet do? Right? It attracts it, right? It sucks things to it. But what happens when you flip the magnet over?
It repels.
What happens? It repels.
It's called polarity, and every single one of you have the same polarity as a magnet. You have a positive charge at your head and a negative charge at your base. We all have it. They've measured it. It's science now. It's in books. There's peer-reviewed papers about it. It shows that you have the same magnetic charge in your head, the positive charge in your head and negative charge at your base. Every animal has it. Every animal has that too. They can measure it and they see that. You have that. You have that same ability to magnetically draw and repel.
Well, didn't you just get back from a Joe Dispenza retreat?
Yes.
I mean, that guy's out there. Cool stuff, right? He gets into quantum physics and all this crazy stuff that just talks about everything you're talking about right now. Attracting and repelling. I got magnets in my hands right now. I'm playing with them. Right?
So what were you talking about the magnets, Jeff?
What I was talking about is, I think the reticular activating system is your magnet.
Yeah.
And it's subconsciously, right, because of the attraction of the energy and the emotions we have in our head. Like, I know my goals are crystal freaking clear, right? And from the visualization in my head is that I do have a magnet. I don't even have to think about it because I'm so clear about what I'm doing, everything I'm doing for. Then it is automatically sucking in and attracting things that are helping me get there. And without my knowledge, it's pushing away people, right? And events and locations and opportunities and phone calls and emails that won't even get to me, right? Because it's such a powerful force inside of my brain that I am pushing away anybody, anything that's going to interfere with my focus to go get me where I want to be. And that magnet is working for me also, attracting people, places, opportunity, phone calls, emails, and opportunities and invitations to certain things that will automatically get me there. But without the emotional attachment to where there is, the magnets can't do anything. They're just going to sit there and rust away, right? So that's the visualization that helps me. But I think that if we don't get super clear on those three or one or two or whatever it is for you by the end of the year, the magnet can't do anything.
I think that whole concept is, like, I've become a true believer of, we don't get what we want, we get who we are, we get who we show up as. And that's why it's important to have the vision, to have the goals, to have that foresight, to have the emotion, because that's who you're showing up as every day, with that vision, with that emotion, with that attraction to what it is you want. But if you just want it, if all you have is this feeling of want and this just a simple desire of, that'd be cool if I had that. That's not really how it works. That's what everybody thinks. Law of attraction. Think about it. It just comes to you. It's like, no, you have to think about it. You have to create it. You have to visualize it. You have to see it as if it was real. You have to connect to it with those emotions. You have to really feel it and feel like you are in that moment and become the person that would have that thing to actually really start to draw it to you quicker. And that's what Jeff is talking about. That vision is so clear that it's already a part of him. He walks as if he is that person who already has that vision, has already created it. It's already there. Every conversation is just one step closer. Every minute of every day, every traffic light that he turns on is getting him just right around the corner from it. Every time he pulls up to the office, every time the phone rings, that vision is there, and everything is coming into his life to help direct him to that because it's so clear.
Chris, do you remember when that he was making fun of Jeff on stage in California?
Yeah.
he was walking around and Jeff was just dropping golden horseshoes out of his butt. Just every time another opportunities just come to him because he's got a clear vision. That was so fun.
That was a fun time. But it's the conviction of knowing that it's on its way, right? That's the tough part, I think, is because there's tons. Yeah, I've got a full zoo of drunk monkeys, right? And I know you do too. Every one of us does. And their number one goal is to detract me from my vision. And they're sometimes pretty damn good at it. Right. So I've got to constantly be aware of the doubt, fears, anxieties that creep in, because I got a ton of them, guys. Right. We all do. So it's never this Pollyanna crap like create a vision and it's there. Creative vision gives you the reasons to swat the monkeys out of your way, right? Because they creep in. But I know for certain that what is a good thing, will work, helps a lot of people, and is awesome. It gets me to where I want to be, which helps serves a lot of people, right? As a result of it too. So I'm convinced 100% that it comes. Now, does it always come as fast as I want? Nope. Are there roadblocks? Sure. But it's just part of the process of getting where it needs to go. But and swat the monkeys. But you got to have that vision in order to be able to go get across all of the reasons that we have to not do what we need to do today and just show up. But the vision is it, guys. So we talk about it a lot. I know everybody talks about what's your goal, what's your vision, but if you connect with it, you're really wasting your time, right? In this business, because you're not going to do anything, because there's nothing to get done until you know what that is. So
Yeah, and then you share it.
who else? Yep.
Who's at my
Hey,
door?
Craig.
Yes, Jackie.
So I had one hell of a really great week.
Ah, interesting. Well, you've also stated your goal.
Yes. First off, I went and I test drove the Jeep to make sure I love it.
I was wondering if you could get in it.
Yeah, I wanted to check that out first because it is a little higher than I'm used to, but I was able to jump up, so I'm good. So I test drove the Jeep, and now I'm seeing that color everywhere, which is really cool. So it's a yellowish green, really bright, and you will definitely see me coming. It's $44,000. I'm ready to go. So I am making my calls like I always do, because I'm anal about that kind of thing. You tell us to do stuff and I do it. So I put out a message on Facebook that said, offering CMAs, contact me if you don't know what that is, because there's a lot of people that don't know what that is. And I ended up getting about 5 phone calls. I sent out CMAs to all of them, and I have 2 new listings coming, one in Bel Rico and one in Sun City, from that post on Facebook. And then my neighbors saw it and said, hey, I don't want to know what my house is worth, but I inherited 400 grand and I'd like to invest. Do you think you can help me to spend that?
Interesting.
I said, yes, most certainly. So that was, and that's a guy 2 doors down the street, and I was walking my dogs and he stopped me and he said, look, he said, I saw your stuff. You're so ambitious. I love that. And then I have a friend in Jersey who works for Sotheby's, and she called me on Saturday and she said, look, I have a buyer that wants a house in Apollo Beach, and she wants somebody that knows waterfront. I know that you do. Can you help her? I'll do a referral to you. I said, certainly. I called the lady Saturday afternoon. She's coming to town this coming week, and she's looking for something for $1.5 million on the water in Apollo Beach. So
have a couple of those.
so that will pay for my car,
Yeah.
which is really good. And then I told you guys I'm gonna be debt free. So I took every one of anything that I get in the mail or anything and put a big 0 over what I owe on it, showing that I owe nothing, so that I'm prepared for that. So that should be a pretty good week, because it looks like I'm going to have about $2 or $3 million in business this week. So I think that's a great week.
Yes. And I want to say again, I know what your intentions are because you shared them with me.
Yes.
The one of the manifestation questions. You know, listen to this. Mike introduced us to Sochi last week at their sales meeting. And I had a thing at the end. I said, shit, I should be using my Facebook. So I talked with Angelique and I talked to Sammy, and Sammy started posting on Facebook. So now I've got over 1,200 friends. I had 400 when we started. Now I've got 1,200. And I've got 180 likes and thumbs up, all kinds of stuff. And then Sammy and I were talking, this was Friday. And I said, you know what? Why don't we do something like, hey, Beggins agent, because I'm talking to you guys right now, and you guys are great because you pay attention and you're engaged with what we do. But we have a lot of agents who aren't engaged with what we do, and I want to try to reach them too. So I said, maybe they're on Facebook. So Sam started adding all of my friends and all that stuff. And I put a post up for Kalani's townhouse project called Sadine Townhouses. And I said, check this out. It's a free website that goes to my website. And I put it out there. And I said, Sam, worst case, an agent will say, oh shit, this is kind of cool. I should add that to mine. They raise their hand and say, I want to do this. Or they might say, oh, I didn't know we could do that. I could do this. Or maybe a customer would actually click on it and see what happens. And I got back from I had lunch with Jimmy and Jessica. I got back and I had a phone call from a 970 number, which I never get phone calls from that. That was my leads engine. So I checked it, got the voicemail, and I made the call. My uncle, of all people, clicked on my website, looked at the Apollo Beach townhouses, said, I don't like Apollo Beach. So it started clicking around my site and clicked on the Pelican, one of Jeff's projects over in Madeira. These are $3.8 million houses. John's already got a couple $4 million houses and $10 million. He has to tell me what his money's got. So now it turns out he wants to buy a $3 million house on the water that he can just spend some time and get a boat, put it on his house. All because of Facebook. So I called Sammy and said, Sam, hey, there might be something to this social media thing. Right? But what did I do? I just took a little bit of action. I didn't even do it. Sammy did it for me. Right? But are you using our projects? That's just there for the taking for all of us. And I wanted to say this before we move on. Be thankful. If we were normal people working a job for X amount of dollars an hour, you couldn't set the lavish goals that you can set in this industry. And I just threw a number out there at $60,000 a quarter. That's $240,000 a year, right? And most of us are not highly educated, right? So what an opportunity we are to be in this world. And, my favorite thing is at 11 o'clock in the morning, the hot sheet comes out. And I look every day and I say, who's getting the agents? Who's getting the listings? Who's getting the sales? How much are they? What are they closing for? And it's just amazing to see some of the dollar amounts that are out there, right? So what do you fill in your head with? You guys looking at that stuff when it comes through it and saying, oh, I didn't do anything. These people are lucky. No, they work. Yeah, 60,000 not even some folks' annual salary, and it's ours for the taking in a quarter, 100% or more. Anybody ever made more than $60,000 in a quarter? Happening. Okay, let's get some sharing going on because we're not changing the mission, right? 3 things you want, put a dollar amount on them, figure out how many transactions it's going to take to make that happen, double that number, and that's how many conversations you need to have a day. There's no trade-off here. You got to put the effort in. You got to have the vision and you got to put in the effort. The one without the other doesn't work. You got to put the car in drive. Who wants to share? Jackie, thank you for sharing. I got to start calling you out. Natalia wrote in that she wants to get a house for her mom in Tampa that she doesn't have to pay for. I see Kalani's. I'm looking at Kalani's big smile on her face right now. I see her new BMW that she just got. And I know she's put a pool in her new house that she just bought. Right? So those are big, good goals. But what's next? You're going to roll over in a coffin and be done? Or are you going to set some other goals?
Craig,
Nate? Deborah?
yes, I want to be debt free.
I love that.
Okay. And that's a really big goal. What I've done before is I've always put like, I want a trip here. I want to buy the car. And I've gotten everything I've ever wanted. I've never, ever had a problem. But I want to be debt free and I have a number on that.
Of course.
And, for me to be debt free is 5 deals.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. And I know I can do that by the end of the year. And it's really amazing because one, I've been listening to my video every night again.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a call from a lady that I've only met one time. And it was down in Northport. I'm sorry. And she wants me to sell her daughter's and her ex-husband's house up in Newport. Up in Port Richey.
Okay.
So Port Richey is not that far.
Nope.
So I went up there over the weekend. So I got that to happen. I have a lady that I'm negotiating with now on a property in South Tampa. Well, would you be interested in my other property also? Okay, so I have that going. And I am mailing out 100 handwritten letters a week. And it doesn't take that long to write handwritten letters when I make them copied on the copy machine. And I leave blank the address. And I expect some really good responses. I believe in the handwritten letter. And
Yep.
really, when you copy it, it looks handwritten. So I have goals, and I do see it already happening. Like Jackie, okay, the old zero. I like that idea. When she said write zero on the bill, like it's already paid off. That's great. It's a good vision. So I'm excited because I know I can do it by the end of the year.
It's awesome.
So that's my goal. And it's happening.
And then what happens?
I set new goals.
Exactly. Constant and never-ending improvement. Right, Jeff?
That's it. That's the whole goal right there. And sometimes the goal is to do less, depending on where you
That's
are.
right.
Who else? Who else wants to hear? It helps. It helps get it out there.
I'll speak up. This
Okay,
is
Carla.
Carla.
Carla, bring it on.
Hello. So last week, my goal was to do 10 CMAs a day. And I was hell bent on it. I did it on Monday. Tuesday, I got to 7, and, a couple of drunk monkeys flew my way, but I had 7. So Wednesday, I said, okay, I have to do 13 to make up for yesterday.
That's
Well,
good.
Wednesday, I got a call, and they said, hey, we want you to come and sell my friend's house. So unfortunately, I had to go get a listing. And then the next day I was doing my CMAs. I got a call out of the blue, and she was like, hey, Carla, I'm Linda. She goes, I think we're friends on Facebook. She said, I'd like for you to come out and look at my house. I'd like to sell this house and buy another one. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, wow. I mean, it was just out of the blue. And we were talking, and she goes, well, I have 4 dogs, and I know you're a big dog person, and I feel comfortable selling my house with you because you'll know how to show it with dogs. I'm like, okay, great.
Okay,
So,
but that's not out of the blue. Right?
No,
That's
I mean,
because you set intentions and you took action. And the
Right.
natural result is to get what you set up to get because you had a purpose.
well, the way I look at it, although the CMAs I sent out, I haven't gotten any traction on them yet, and they weren't related to the 2 listing appointments.
Doesn't
But
matter.
in my mind, I'm like, I'm putting this effort out there and trying to get this activity going. And because of that, that's my reward, even though it wasn't directly related to those CMAs, which that will come eventually. But it made me feel good because I'm like, great, here I am working, and things are coming in without me even going after those particular avenues, but they come in. So
You expended the energy that let the intention bring itself around.
yes.
Let's talk about some terminology though, because Carla, you started off saying my goal is 10 CMAs a day. That's not the goal. That's the activities that are going to make the goal happen. Right. So it's important. And there's a driving force. You could be sleeping right now. You don't have to turn this on. You don't have to contribute. Right. No one's forcing you to do anything, but you've got a goal that's driving you from an income source or a lifestyle source or a big ass smile pursuit, something that's making you say, I want a better life in these areas, and it's going to cost this much money, and damn it, I'm going to make it happen. Right. So that's the foundation that is making her take the actions. And she says, well, I need to do a certain number of deals to put that big ass smile on my face. So what's the best way to get the deals? And guys, we're human, right? We go to lowest hanging fruit, right? We're going to do the easiest thing we can do to get to where we need to go. That's just human nature. So Carla says, okay, I need X dollars. That means X deals. Well, what's working? Well, all of it's working. What do I enjoy doing? Well, I could do this. That's not too hard. That's in my comfort zone. And then she went and did that. And she said, I'm going to do CMAs. Well, how many? Well, let's make it a goal to hit 10 of them a day. Right. So that's now her activity goal, right? To that funds the whole lifestyle. You guys see, I just want to make sure that the building blocks in the sequence is there for everybody. Because the goal of doing 10 of anything is not fun. It's the results that come as a result of it.
Right. And you can't judge the result.
Right.
Fuck how, right?
Yeah.
So you took action and you got results. They weren't the results you intended to get, but you got results. But because you took the action, the magnets were in place.
I was talking with an agent who has to bring in significant amount of money pretty relatively quickly. And so we come up with a little business plan on it. And she knows she needs to get business, right? She needs to go hunt the business. And the quickest way out of this is fewer deals, but at a higher price point. So she says, okay, what's my path of least resistance? What's my most efficient manner to go do it? So she's working expireds, unconditional withdrawals for sale by owners in a $2 million plus area. So when she gets the results, it's going to enter a bigger check, right? That she can deposit, which gets her to where she needs to be faster. So look how lucky we are and fortunate we are to be able to just tweak where we want to work to decide the kind of check we want and which kind of areas, which kind of people, and all from doing the exact same actions, which is just flapping our lips and talking.
Flapping our lips.
That's all we do for a living.
All right.
Hello, Jim. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Dale.
The one thing I have to be honest, I feel like the monkeys have been a problem for me this year, no matter what I have, but I'm working through it.
That's because you're alive.
I know.
Never going to stop.
But I, shame on me a little bit, but no matter what, I've been working on these CMAs. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing them and, it is taking some time, but I'm going on a listing appointment. Last week, I am strong and trying to get stronger in the South Tampa Chamber. So, I've gone to the ribbon cuttings because you see a lot of different people in an arena there. You sometimes can see 12 at a clip that are other business people. So that's pretty productive. Since I'm, involved with Navy Fed, I did what we call opportunity or floor time in one of the branches.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got 4 leads that were kind of really legit. So I can send them to Reload and we can get them credit as an agent generated referral. So that was, I thought, pretty, productive on many levels, for me and Bagans. And one last thing for now is the hammer's going on in November on my rental house. So that's probably going to be a $50,000 project to renovate that little house and for it to actually earn some real money and not be being too nice to the tenants. So it's nice to be a nice guy, but I think that's got to stop now. So those are a few kind of little different, but some things I've been kind of trying to work on.
No, and the key is that you've been taking action. I knew you were sitting Navy Fed floor time because Ashley told me about it. I know that you would know chamber stuff because Angelique told me about it. Right? You're taking action. That's the key, right? And now we know what you're working for. You need $50,000 to fix up your rental house, get the cheap tenants out, put some good paying tenants in, and get some passive income in your life that just generates wealth. Perfect.
Dale, what stops the drunk monkey
What stop?
for you?
Well, when I kind of
what's giving
like
you the ability to kind of shut it up a little bit and stop it?
Well, I have a big sign that I made a poster above my desk at the office, and I shared it with Lum and with Diener, and it says "Let it go."
Mm-hmm.
So, meaning my biggest thing is probably me in the sense that I know we all have monkeys, but there was and Craig, about it. I have a couple of deals that were with new construction, and I allowed this one person to become a dominant thing and wasting time for all of us, instead of just, letting it go. And if it's going to close, it's going to close. Because every day I'd go and, open the email, and this guy would just some crazy, just off the chain stuff that wasn't even, in reality, but I got sucked into it.
Yep. Lauren,
So
you want
what
to remember
stops-
the conversation from last Friday?
Pardon?
Lauren and I had a conversation just like yours last Friday. Lauren had the worst seller in the world. They decided all this stuff they're not going to sign, blah, 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 and all these problems. Just stop it. Let it go. Tell them to call their attorney, get over it. And then, long story short, after that talk, I get a text. They closed. Right. So sometimes we blow things up bigger than they are.
So if you're putting emotion into all of those things and you let that go, so you're no longer putting emotion into those things, that crappy buyer, that worst seller in the world, that thing that's distracting you, where's the emotion going now? That's where,
to fund the house so it can be renovated.
well, that's still part of the action. So where's the emotion go? So your emotion is wrapped up in the person, the thing, the house, the closing, the contract, the action, the prospecting, the buyer who didn't this, the seller who didn't that. If you let that go, now there's no emotion that's drawing you or repelling you from anything. So what's your vision? What's your clarity? What's your focus? Where's that emotion? Where should it be going? Where can you put that emotion so that it's going to be working for you, drawing you, attracting you, being a magnet toward what you want, rather than focusing on what's going on, the actions that are happening?
Well, it's excuse me, it's little kind of a hefty goal, but or like one of the goals is to get 10 more units. I did the math to accomplish a goal too by the end of the year, which is, that means I need to hustle to get that to happen.
Yeah, I think what Chris is asking you is, when you stop focusing on the negative crap, it frees you up to focus on the positive stuff.
Right. And I feel like it's like you took a boulder off my head once I let that whole horrible deal go.
Yep.
Because he was saying, and I guess I'm sometimes too personal with this. I know we want to do a good job and all that, but when people write emails and when they're falsehoods, it kind of about me individually, I need to step up the plate and know the truth. That's not how I operate. Even if they want to write all kind of weird stuff, I just got too consumed with it. And now I feel like that's a plus that's out of my life.
There you go.
I mean, whatever's going to happen with it's going to happen.
There you go. Matt, you've raised your hands. Thank you for sharing, Dale.
I wanted to share real quick.
This is the key, guys.
I was able to get a client under contract this weekend, 10 under asking.
All right.
And I'll kind of attribute some of it to just having a positive conversation about mindset with Jeff Beggins, a day or two prior, and kind of stepping in with this client again and just saying, look, we don't know what interest rates are going to do. Just send it. Let's do it. And I've put in a couple offers for this client before, so we're in. And I was also able to talk with someone in my network, and this came from my sphere, military, law enforcement sphere. So someone else in my sphere reminded me that we're not going to achieve uphill goals by continuing with downhill actions. When we jump off these calls and we get doing our day and we get whatever it is we do, it requires the uphill actions also, not just the talk, not just the motivation for an hour in the morning and then we go back to doing whatever. So that with me.
I love it. Yeah, that's why we do this at 8:30, because the day still goes on from here. It's not, you're not done at 9:30. Then it's not.
I was talking to Craig last night. I was listening to one of the things I listened to on the morning beach walks on that is I was listening to Elon Musk the other day, one of the podcasts he was doing. And one of the quotes that stood out, I stopped and actually wrote it down. It was funny. And
If you do nothing, you'll get nothing.
if you don't do stuff, there's no stuff. Right? That was, if you don't do stuff, there's no stuff. If you don't make contacts, you will not get any business. If you don't have the conversations, nothing comes to you. If you haven't figured out, guys, this market has shifted. There's not a ton of lead flow of people dying to come buy houses right now. We actually have to work for it. So if you're not doing stuff, you're going to get nothing. So this is not the way it was last year. This is not the way it was a year and a half ago. This is the way it is right now. And it's not the way it's going to be forever. But in this particular quarter, you've got to get on it. Or if you don't, nothing's going to happen for you. Nothing.
Nothing. If you do nothing, you'll get nothing. So that's why we do this every day. Cool. Okay, I'm in the chats real quick. I really think you guys sharing this is really important. Nice is a 4-letter word. Okay. I had the opportunity to list my mom's ex-husband's house, and although it's not what I saw as my first listing, I'm taking it with open arms and much gratitude. Hell yeah. Ashley says Dale is amazing.
I can share real quick. It wasn't on my vision board at the beginning of the year, and I threw it in, I guess a few months ago, as buying a condo for my mom. And
Well, it started with doing a new kitchen for your mom.
no, that's Andrea.
Oh, okay.
That's
Oh,
Andrea.
you're
Yeah,
right.
Andrea's remodeling her mom's kitchen. But my mom was miserable. You know, I moved her up from Miami, and she's, you know, lived with me for a while, and then she wanted to, of course, not live with me, which is fine. She went into an apartment, and she's miserable because there's nobody her age around there. So, you know, I don't, of course, I don't care about the market. So I was like, you know what? I got to get her out of there. Get her a place, bought her a place, you know, in Kings Point. And of course, it's going to be a lot less without the HOA, her monthly payment. But I got her all hooked up with Brooke and everything. Everything's going smoothly until it didn't. I know they have VA approved transactions in there, and FHA is a no-go, which surprised me, but I guess there are a lot of investors, I guess, that have properties for their family. So I had to pivot really quickly because she had to flip it to a convention. I'm like, okay, this money now I have to come up with was not accounted for. So that was you know, a ball out of left field. So I had to pivot and set higher goals and keep on keeping on, because my mom's all excited about being a homeowner again for the first time in over 40 plus years.
Wow.
And you know, just had to put the pedal to the metal and repeat two of Matthew Ferry's good lines is you know, you have to believe that all is well, and everything is happening, everything is going my way, even when it's not.
Right.
So I kept saying that over and over and over again. It's like, okay, this was just thrown at me. Now what am I going to do? What action am I going to take? So yeah, it was challenging, but it's all working out. It's all working out. And I just gotta slam on the accelerator to you know, make the goals I've set, continue to make the goals that I've set for this year.
I love it. Okay. Nobody else wants to share?
All right, so let's be clear on what is our activity goal for the week, because we need to have something. It's going to be dependent on you guys, right? So go through the math equation, Craig, of what we do.
It's identify 3 things you would like to materialize between now and the end of the year, right? Set intentions for those 3 things to happen: monetary, church, whatever. Assign a dollar amount to those 3 activities. How much money is it going to cost to make that happen? Because money is generally necessary to, like Jennifer wrote, I need 2 deals to pay off my bad debt. Okay. So how much money is that going to take? Figure out how many transactions that's going to take. Double that number. So if it's going to take 4 transactions, then double that number. That would be 8 conversations a day. Right. So then tune in every morning at 8:30. You'll get some words of wisdom from one of us. And then at 9:30, you start making your conversations. If you get your conversations done by noon, you did more than most people did all week. Right. And then tomorrow you do the same thing. 8:30 gets positive words of inspiration and make your conversations. And then what's going to happen? Who was just talking, said, and then, oh, it was Carla. And then something got in the way and you couldn't make your conversations. You had to go get a listing. Break up the fiddle, right? Because you took the action and then things get in the way and then you're going to go do work, right? The purpose of the conversation is to find a transaction, which means you got to stop having conversations so you can go do the transaction. But that's what you ultimately wanted.
I just got to say that was the worst fiddle sound I've ever heard.
Yeah, that really was bad.
So, but that's it, guys. There's your calculation of what you need to be doing.
And it's not much. 4 transactions, 8 conversations a day.
Those are not just contacts. Those are true
conversations
when you're talking back and forth. And right. But that's the
I was talking to my mom the other night and she had cut me off. I was just bitching. I think I spent 6 or 7 hours on the phone on Thursday or Friday last week. And I went through my phone contacts and I was just blurt out. I said things like, look, I talked to this person, my contacts, my recent calls. I mean, the amount of contacts in my phone that day was just insane. And I talked to this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. And then what did that do? My to-do list got bigger because every time I talked to somebody, I found another new opportunity to go take down. So I'm reading.
We've got 9 extra moments to make some connections today now.
Yep.
9:21.
Yeah. And what do you start with? The 3 intentions. That's the key. Don't even go past that. If you don't have that, I want you to have that first and be a little lofty. Right now, if some of you are like really new and don't have any transactions yet, let's just get in the game. Start getting some transactions. David, you want to get your first listing this month? Perfect. That's a great goal. Right. So what are you going to do? You don't have to answer that question, but you know, are you going to make CMA requests? You're going to go for sale by owners. You're going to go you're going to converse with people. So have an idea who you're going to converse with. And we got all these tools and there's a whole archive of all this stuff we've done, Remine and all these places like high sell scores and all that stuff. It's all there for the taking. And we talk about it all the time. So cool. Well, take the extra 8 minutes to work on your visions for today. And then tune in for sales meeting tomorrow. Right. Every week I've been talking to family, relatives, and friends. I got my mother-in-law to talk about buying a house and my big brother thinking to sell his house in New Jersey. Wonderful. You know, we had a whole opportunity for referrals for that. Cool. And then we've got leadership is happening this week. Most of the management team is going on Wednesday to Miami. And then the agents have their top agent event starting on Friday. So we'll have a lot of things going on this week and some more education. So that's going to happen this week. I think that's enough for today.
There you go. Make it a great day.
On it. Thank you, Kimberly. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.